I won a ton of money in gambling. But, I lost my entire life savings of over $600,000. This may be a lengthy story, but I will outline how this happened, from the bliss my life was before to the descent into chaos and where I am now. At one point, I had amassed over $500,000 in a retirement account and over $100,000 in cash in my checking account. To start, many of you will immediately wonder how I even got in that situation, so let me give you a little backstory. I'm an IT professional with a background in software engineering, although I'm currently in management. I make six figures and have since I was in my late 20s. I'm generally frugal, save way more than the average person, and don't buy many lavish things. I keep to myself most of the time, go out occasionally, and buy quality things I use the most, but I don't overindulge. Doing this has led to a happy and generally successful life where I never had to worry about losing my job for even a year, much less where my next meal came from. I always knew that if poop hit the fan, I had enough money to survive for years. I've always enjoyed the occasional casino trip, probably more than my friends, but it was never really a problem. That is until mid last year. I was a casual gambler playing mostly parlor table games when one day I went to the casino with $600 and sat down at an ultimate Texas Hold'em game where I proceeded to win non-stop for hours. I continuously upped my bets and kept winning. Eventually, I was betting table max, $3,000 with the various bets. The table was drawing attention, I was on a high. Everybody was winning, and I was winning the most. A straight, followed by a whole house, another straight and another full house. Oop, I was playing max bets, raising my bet 4x blind, and would still win. Sometimes, only with a high card. I could not lose. The table was all cheering me on because when I'd win another $2,000 or so, I'd toss $100 chips to the others at the table as a kind gesture. The largest chips they had at the table were $500 chips. They ran out and had to order a refill. This happened 6 times. 6 times, they ran out of money for the players at our table and had to keep bringing more in. I would shove the $500 chips into my pocket to avoid too much attention and play only with the ones on the table. Any new winnings went into my pocket out of sight. At one point, they decided to change the cards, which took about 20 minutes so I got up to go to the bathroom. I thought my pants would sag from the weight of the chips. They filled my pockets so much I worried they might just spill out of my pockets. I later found out that the pit bosses were getting calls from security asking them to keep an eye on me because they were suspicious that I might be cheating. They said the security reviewed the footage of that night for days afterward, trying to see what was going on. When I finally stood up from the table, I realized I had won over $30,000 from my original $600 buy-in. That was a high I didn't know was possible. I could buy a car with that or anything I wanted, but then I already could. There was nothing I wanted that I couldn't already have bought. The $30,000 didn't matter. I found out later that because I was betting so much for so long, my tier status went to the highest level, and that came with tons of perks like a free cruise, free golf trips at a local private club, and over $3,000 in food comps which were valid at even the fancy casino restaurants like their steakhouse. With this money, I would eventually treat all my friends to multiple fancy dinners. With nothing I wanted to spend the money on, I decided to go back again the next weekend. This time I played slots and table games, all sorts of things and again won more. Everything I touched won. Slots were paying me hand pays right and left. People recognized me from before and would stop to hear the story. I won another $20,000 over the month, mostly on slots with best ranging from $5 to $60 a spin. It was all cash. Literal paper cash in my closet in $10,000 bundles just sitting there with no purpose other than to be used on more casino trips. My friends told me how lucky I was and loved telling the story. It's fun to tell stories about sticking it to the casino. Everybody loves a good winner story. My friends all knew I had nearly $50,000 in cash in my closet. I had just bought a house and started fixing things up. I spent about $40,000 on the house, covering paint, appliances, flooring, etc. When I spent that money, I carefully used my card and saved the cash for future casino trips. In the following weeks, I'd slowly lose more than that $50,000 wad of cash. It became $40,000, then $35,000, and I kept thinking, oh poop, if my friends ask to see the cash, I'm going to need an excuse for why I don't have it anymore. I should probably try to win some back at the tables again. I know just as well as you do now that this is a ridiculously stupid thing even to think, much less attempt.